This video is about how to write a thesis statement for your argumentative essay, specifically using the concession, thesis, reasons format. So we've already talked a lot about thesis, and you should know that a thesis is the statement that is what your whole essay is trying to prove. When we're writing argumentative essays, we use the word claim instead of thesis, or we use them interchangeably. You could say either one. The only difference is that when someone says claim, you know they're talking about argumentative writing. But no matter what, a thesis is a claim. They're the same thing. And your thesis statement or your claim is the sentence in which you state your main argument and a brief description of how you will prove it. There are a lot of ways to construct or structure a thesis statement or a claim, but this video will talk about how to work with one specific model, the concession, thesis, and reasons model. You already know that a thesis is the statement that has the topic, your opinion about the topic, which you don't state as an opinion but as a fact, and then typically the three reasons that you will use to support your opinion, which again, you don't quantify as your opinion. So let's say that you are writing an argumentative essay and you want it to be about video surveillance cameras in schools. And you decide that, yes, you are for placing video surveillance cameras in schools. And you have three reasons that you will use to prove that putting video surveillance cameras in schools are a good idea. You think that it increases safety. You think that it reduces vandalism. And you think video cameras are a good way to keep both teachers and students accountable for their actions because someone is always watching. In this approach, you are going to be adding a concession to what you have already done. A concession is when you recognize the opposing side's strongest argument, or at least the argument that you can quickly swat away. And in doing this, you actually gain credibility as a writer because it says to the reader that you have carefully considered every argument and still you land on the side of your opinion. And therefore, they too should land on the same side as you have led. So the concession, topic, opinion, reasons, we're going to call topic and opinion the thesis. This is the basic structure or formula for the concession, thesis, reasons format. So let's say in your video surveillance essay, you can admit that video surveillance cameras are expensive. So you're going to lead with that in this style of thesis writing, and it's going to look like this. Although surveillance cameras may be expensive, schools should install them because they increase safety, reduce vandalism, and keep both teachers and students accountable for their actions. You can see that the beginning, the concession, has a contrast transition, although, and then moves on to the thesis, which is the topic and your opinion, and then ends with the three reasons that the reader can expect to see in the essay. Here are a few more examples to take a look at. While it's true that the person you are inside is what's most important, you should take care of your appearance because it will increase your confidence, it shows respect to others, and it will give you opportunities you might not otherwise have. You can see that the author starts with a concession. It is true that the person you are on the inside is what's most important, but then moves on to the topic and your opinion about it. You should take care of your appearance, and then ends with the reasons. I'd like you to notice that in the reasons, the author has used parallelism. Parallelism is when you make all the verbs sound similar or in the same tense. And this author has done that. They say, it will, blah, 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 it shows, blah, 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 and it will, blah, blah, blah. Another example, starting with the concession, despite the fact that buying locally grown food can be inconvenient. And notice that in the concession part, again, they use a contrast transition, despite. Then they admit that the other side has a logical or strong argument, and then moves on into the topic opinion and what we're calling thesis here, and ends with the reasons. I'd like you to notice that in the reasons, the author structured them in a logical progression. So they start with it's better for our health, in other words, the individual. It supports our local community, so it grows a little bigger than the individual, and it benefits the environment, moves outward into its biggest example. And here is a final example. Even though serious behavior problems need serious consequences, so again, starting the concession with a contrasting transition word, moving on to the thesis, schools should not suspend students. This practice causes academic problems, it leads to further disciplinary issues, and to some students, it can feel more like a reward than a punishment. What I'd like you to notice here is that this claim is actually two sentences. This writer decided to, rather than using the word because, end the sentence after students and start a new sentence. You are free to do that in your essay as well. So now that we've talked about the concession, thesis, reasons approach, your job is to use the approach to write the full thesis statement for your essay. Once you've written that, and I would recommend writing it on some scrap paper so you can edit it, revise it before you settle in on one that you're going to consider your final one. Once you have done that, you should transfer the thesis and the 3 points to the essay graphic organizer. If you'd like to see what this looks like in action, you can refer to the example that is available to you. The example is titled Essay 1, Draft 1. You will see the graphic organizer that the writer used in order to write that first essay. You will note, however, that in this particular one, the 3 points are not listed in the thesis statement box on the planner, but instead they are included in the first paragraph of the essay.